Time for your questions and honest answers. And Gordon, this first one comes from RC, who says, there is emerging scientific evidence that fasting may be good for health. Biblical characters used it to deepen their relationship with God or when petitioning Him in special circumstances. I'm longing to learn more about the practice as a spiritual discipline to grow with God. Do you have any advice or words of wisdom on the topic?
RC, my advice to you is fasting doesn't get you brownie points with God. And I think there's a whole natural tendency to think that, you know, somehow denying yourself is going to make you better with God. I just, from a theological standpoint, I just really stand against that. What He gives is a free gift. And when you read the writings of the great saints of the church, they agree with this, that sort of in spite of all their fasting, all their deprivations, all their poverty, when God would come to them, it was always a gift. Here's the secret for you, and it's from James chapter 4, verse 8. This isn't a seeker-friendly verse, but this is the secret to growing with God. Draw near to God, and He will draw near to you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. So the requirement to grow with God is to leave sin behind, is to start acting in accordance with His Word. Now, here's something fasting does. Fasting denies your flesh, and it's a physical hunger, but you'll notice, and for me, it always came after a week. I probably need to fast more these days, but it's not to get closer to God. Other physical desires, so if you have any issues with sexual sin, if you have any issues with physical compulsions overwhelming you, I encourage you to fast. It's a great way to break that. But purify your heart, purify your hands, and draw near to Him, and He'll draw near to you.
Okay, I'm going to ask a short one here because we're almost out of time. Daniel wants to know, who are the authors of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John?
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
There you have it. Words of wisdom to live by today.
You know, from the earliest Christian church, I know there's a lot of, controversy, and it's like theologians want to create controversy, and I don't understand it. But from the earliest records of the church, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were the authors of the Gospels. And I go on that history. I don't go on some theologian saying, well, the language of the Greek is expressed differently in this passage, and so it can't be the same author, all that kind of stuff. No, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.